It'd be nice. So, hey, everyone. Welcome. Sorry. We're just chatting away like we often do. Sorry. Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is the Hours for Football podcast. I'm your host, Dana OG, and I have not been here for like a month. Like, had anniversaries and vacations. Oh, you guys were hilarious last week. Let me tell you, I loved every second of that. Are you kidding? I watched it. It was so fun. But I'm so glad to be back. I miss this when I don't get to do it. I think it's super fun. So tonight joining me is Lisa and Sonia. Kate. Well, Kate's in Nashville for work, but she gets to go to the Preds game. So we're not talking to her.
For work.
We're not talking to Kate.
We're
not talking to her.
Work.
But I hope she has a great time. Yeah. It's so fun. Must be nice. I would love to go for sure. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, welcome everyone again. It's not really, it's the divisional preview. It's the wild card. It's the refs. It's what the hell's wrong with Dallas. It's a little bit of everything. So we are excited to be here and bring it to you tonight. Of course, we need to mention our fantastic, lovely, beautiful sponsors. Lisa, tell us all about Donkey's Place.
I'll tell you, with this cold weather, nothing's better than a Donkey's cheesesteak. I saw some pictures from the folks up there. Everybody piling in there, getting those big, hot, juicy cheesesteaks. Man, I'll tell you, I'm gonna get up there and get me one of those. They're awesome. Medford, Camden, their brand new Mount Holly is rocking. So thank you to Donkey's Cheesesteaks, and we're all gonna make a trip, and I'm gonna get your shirts to you. They're still packed up.
I forgot we got shirts. We were supposed to get those in like September, Lisa. I didn't even remember.
This is like the running joke. This is so great.
They're packed up. I mean, they're safe and sound though. Brand new Donkey shirts.
I believe it.
They're safe.
We've all been just a little bit busy. So, of course, our friend John is here with us, as he always is. And he's like, did someone go to Hawaii recently? Yeah, that was me. I was on vacation.
Yeah,
it was awesome. But
it was
let me tell you how irritated I was. Let me tell you. So, first, I was on planes 2 Sundays in a row, right? So, the flight to Hawaii, I got all excited. We left out of Phoenix because they were showing the Cardinals game. Now, that was not the Cardinals-Seahawks game. It was the week before that. And I'm like, on the way back, I'm going to get to watch this Cardinals-Seahawks game. On the way back, they showed the Rams and the Niners. I was so irritated. So I didn't get to watch any of that football. I came back, just piled through a whole bunch of football games. The end of the season, I think, was fantastic. And I really, really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than this wild card weekend. Not gonna lie, this wild card weekend, as John has put in our comments, was the not so super wild card weekend for sure. Yes. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to pull up our little information here really quickly. So what did you guys think? I'm not sure that I can say having a 7th seed is beneficial to the playoffs. And I'm trying to put it as nice as I can. I don't really buy it. Lisa, how do you feel about these expanded playoffs?
I was excited until they played them. I mean, I think besides the Bengals and the Raiders, who at least it came down to, a last minute possession, they were blowouts. I mean, it was everything you kind of expected. I mean, when you looked at like the Chiefs and the Steelers, I mean, honestly, did you really kind of give the Steelers any credit, even though they, went scoreless the first quarter, but then bam, and so I think they kind of turned out the way we kind of all thought. I do think though that one of these years there'll be a surprise. I mean, I think there'll be a team that, that had a lot of injuries during the beginning of the season that is a lot better of a team than, what their record would be. So at the end of the season, if they get everybody back, I think you'll see that happen. I don't think we saw that this year. That's the thing. I don't think we saw that team that kind of got left out, but yet still just barely made it because of that extra team. I do think that's kind of what they were going for. Just as far as quality of watching football, it was pretty piss poor.
Sonia, we talked about this a bunch of times during the season here on the podcast about how there was that kind of muck in the middle. like there wasn't really any super standout teams right there in the middle, and that it really was going to come down to someone just happened to jumping into the 7th seed, and that was the Pittsburgh Steelers this year.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was just, I don't know, the Steelers just doing kind of what they do, and Mike Tomlin doing what he does, and despite everything, and I think maybe even the team came together for Big Ben, but yeah, honestly, I think that it's kind of like that round of 6, or the round of 64 at the NCAA Final Four in basketball, and they're going to be a blowout. It, and that every now and then there might be that one Cinderella team, and so I kind of equated it to that, where there were obviously some blowouts, and nobody really thought that Pittsburgh, like you said, Lisa, was going to make it past Patty Mahomes and all of them. So so that's kind of what I equated it to. It was good, but I think it didn't get the excitement that they thought they were going to get. Let's put it that way.
Right, for sure. I will tell you, here in Kansas City, people were a little worried about that game because the Chiefs have been a little hot and cold, and we're going to talk about that later in the thing. But I was like, "Are you people? Have you watched the Steelers play the?" Okay, well, so let's talk about some of these games that were good though during Wild Card. So Raiders Bengals. We're going to talk about the refs here in a minute. So we'll get there to all of our people in there. I will get there, I promise. But Raiders Bengals 1926. So excited for the Bengals. Haven't been in 31 years. Finally won a playoff game. They shook off the Andy Dalton curse, as I like to call it. And not that Andy's been around for 31 years. I get it. But you know what I'm saying. And so that was a fun game to watch. Did either one of you guys get to watch that one?
Yes.
I got to watch a few little clips of it, but overall, not much.
I was impressed with Cincinnati. Lisa, I don't know about you. I picked Cincinnati. A lot of people were picking the Raiders to win that game. I picked Cincinnati when I just thought they had a little bit more momentum, but that was a fun game to watch. I really enjoyed it. I understand the reffing was an issue. Like I said, we're going to get there, but the game plan was really solid.
By both sides. I mean, the Raiders they didn't quit. I mean, they kept going. And I don't understand how you don't. Bisaccia, what a great coach. I mean, they never quit on the guy. All the after the Gruden mess, and he kept everybody together, and the players love this guy. I mean, they'll it seem like they'll run through a brick wall for him. So I hope he gets a strong consideration, because to me, I just don't know if I would move off of that. So. And like I said,
to be a hot question. Yeah.
Well, with Matt getting fired, and it was just hysterical, because it's like, it's like a lot of people where you look in the newspaper and you see your job posted, but you haven't been fired yet. They flirted with, every, other people, and it's finally, and everybody just Twitter lit up. It's like, okay, has Matt been fired? And it's like, well, no, not officially, but Ian and all them are just reporting that all these GMs they're bringing in. It's like, okay, yeah, he's going to be going here soon. But yeah, it was a matter of time. So that was kind of weird.
That is, the Raiders have been through a lot this offseason, or this season. Right. We know it. So I'm impressed that they made it that far. I think that's been really good. Patriots Bills shocked the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie. I didn't see that
I didn't
coming.
Expect it to be a blowout. I didn't see it either.
Me neither.
No.
47-17. 47-17, Bill Belichick. Just saying. Sonia shocked me.
It did shock me. I thought that the Patriots would at least put up, a little bit more of a fight. But I guess, see, like you said, the Bills are who we thought they were, paraphrasing. But, they came back and they played. I was like, okay, cool. So maybe they were just saving it for the offseason and, getting ready to turn on the Jets as soon as they can. So, I was surprised. I didn't expect a blowout. I thought they would at least keep it close, because they have kept it close all season. And, maybe that extra game kind of did get to Mac Jones, but I don't know. I was kind of surprised, but way to go, Bills.
Mac Jones looked like a rookie.
Yeah,
he did.
That's what I'm saying.
He did, and that's understandable. He is a rookie. The brand big shiny lights and Belichick in your ear, that can be a little intimidating. The moment might have got him. I don't know. Their defense was disaster. So I think that they just, I don't know. They'll be back. They'll be very good.
Oh, for sure. It was a learning experience. It was a learning.
We have to talk about Fitzpatrick in in the stands though.
Oh my God, I loved that so much.
I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, everything right now with Buffalo is just awesome, right? It's awesome to be a Buffalo Bills fan right now. When you see Ryan Fitzpatrick with his shirt off and that, oh my goodness gracious.
He was having such a great time and the fans loved it. Oh my God, that video made me so happy. I was so happy. Bucks Eagles did not surprise me. 31-15. I expected them to just roll right over the top. Sadly, and we're going to talk about the divisional games, but the Bucks did take some injuries there, so we're going to look at that a little bit more. 49ers Cowboys. We're going to talk about Dallas in depth here in a little bit. But thank you very much, Dallas, for completely screwing me over. I picked Dallas to win that game. I thought that they would step up to the moment. They did not step up to the moment.
They did not step up to the moment. And, I saw the score and I was like, I'm sorry, what? like what happened? And I thought that, that this was their year. Honestly, I really thought that. But, I think they changed a little bit after that Denver game. And, I think something like the screws kind of came off there and, it just became more of an uphill battle. But I really thought that this was their year. I probably should have known better, but I was very surprised by that game.
I was too. So our friend Big Red is in the comments. He says, Cowboys, the problem is in the quarterback. I blame upper management, mainly Jerry Jones. We are going to talk about that in depth here in just a few minutes or so. Wait around for that one. All right. So Steelers, Chiefs, we already talked about. Cardinals, Rams. I would like to say that this is exactly what I feel. This is not the game I expected, but I wasn't shocked at it either. After seeing what the Cardinals had done, they lost 4 out of their last 5. They do this the second half of every season. This is Cliff Kingsbury's, his curse. He cannot keep a team relevant in the second half, college or NFL. And so the Rams just rolled them. Literally, Kyler Murray looked like he played high school football. I was shocked. Absolutely shocked.
I told him he should play baseball, but he didn't want to listen.
He didn't want to listen to you, right?
He
didn't want to listen.
He didn't at all.
He might have thought about that after last night's game.
You've been like, what if I could still play baseball?
What's going on?
I could still go to the A's. I think they might need
They might want that to happen. All right. So then we are going into our divisional games. We're going to talk about that toward the end of the show. There is a lot to talk about. These games, some of these games are coin tosses, people. It's going to be so fun to talk about. I'm really, really excited. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. So let's talk. I don't remember which one I said we were going to talk about first, the refs or Dallas. But I want to start with let's start with Dallas. That's where I want to go. So anyone who's been paying attention to Dallas Cowboys and their fan base, this was the year again, because last year was the year, but then Dak got hurt. And then the year before that was the year. It's always the year. Dallas Cowboys have not won. They've won 3 playoff games in 25 years, I think is what I was told this morning. 3 playoff games in 25 years.
Divisional, I think the last round they've won because I think Romo's 2 for 4 in the playoffs games, right?
Yeah. So they haven't gotten further than the divisional. Gotcha.
They haven't gotten further than divisional.
So that makes
1995 or something. I think it was.
Sounds about right.
The way I look at this, and I said this earlier today, but I did a little more research and I still stand by it. Jerry Jones, we have to say a couple of things here, and it's going to hurt a couple of us to say it out loud, but it's true. The Dallas Cowboys are one of the best franchises in the NFL. And I'm not talking about wins and losses. I'm talking about management. Okay. We can piss on Jerry Jones all we want to, but he is invested to a fault, like personally invested in this to a fault, to the point that he gets too involved as an owner. And we all know that. The interesting thing for me is that it seems like he has been chasing a replacement for Aikman and Emmitt Smith for all these years. And he keeps thinking he has it. And then it's not it. And that's not a knock on Tony Romo. Tony Romo is a great quarterback, right? He's a better announcer, but he was a great quarterback, right? And then, so then he got it. He had Dak and he sat on Dak. Remember, we all wondered why they paid him. They tagged him the 1 year, then they paid him. They have Zeke Elliott. Dallas, to me, and this is my question to you guys, seems to have all the pieces, but they have no depth. So the minute they get hurt, they're done. Their line is done. Their secondary is done. They have all these blue chip players that either can't stay on the field or they don't have anyone to back them up. I truly think that the way this Dallas Cowboys team is put together, this team could have had a chance, but they get in their own way every single time. Lisa, what is your take on Dallas this time?
Well, with my take we'll go back to like the Jerry Jones thing that
I'm sorry.
said.
Lisa, were you taking the refs or were you taking Dallas? You were taking Dallas, right?
I was taking Dallas.
Okay,
I was taking Dallas.
Yeah.
You don't even remember what you wrote.
I don't.
So, but this is interesting. We'll go back to the Jerry Jones thing. And like Big Red said, it starts with the top guy, right? Jerry's always been invested. And, as a fan, I would love an owner like Jerry Jones. Honestly, I'm just going to say it. I would love, maybe he gets a little bit too involved, but man, damn, he loves his Cowboys. So when you look, I mean, that whole game
sorry guys, Niles wants to give his 2 cents.
I know Niles is a Cowboys fan. See, Cowboys fan.
I know.
From the get-go, I mean, a league high 14 penalties, the ties of most penalties in a playoff game, undisciplined. Mike McCarthy has struggled with time management since he's become a head coach. And honestly, I'm trying to think back when he was with the Packers. Now, here's my thing. Was it just him with Aaron Rodgers that Rodgers was just so tuned into time that he saw, kind of knew how to do it? I mean, it was so bizarre because I don't remember him struggling so much with time management when he was with the Packers as he has with the Cowboys. And there's been games that he's lost because of questionable timeouts he's called. They come out, that last play, and we'll definitely get to that. But I mean, you have to go to the play of the offensive line. I mean, Dak was running for his life. I mean, it was just from the get-go. I mean, the score to me doesn't indicate how close the game really was. I mean, to me, the 49ers were in control until almost that last play of the game to me.
Yep.
Garoppolo made that huge mistake on that pick that brought them right back into this game, and they just couldn't close it out. And they couldn't close it out on a very, very, very questionable and debatable call. And then immediately Cowboy fans, which you can't blame them. You want something to be wrong besides your quarterback. You don't hand the ball to your center. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, that's football 101. I don't even understand how you can blame the refs at that. A player can't spot a ball, period. And it's something that, and they took to the mic, and both of them, Mike McCarthy included and Dak Prescott, throw the refs under the bus for their call that they couldn't execute. And everybody around the league, even the Manning cast last night, 17 to 18, 19 seconds, you could probably get away with a play like that. I mean, everything had to been executed perfectly. Had they probably, I don't even know if they would have got it off if they handed it to the umpire. That's questionable. We'll never know that. But you certainly don't hand the ball back to your center and then come out in a press conference like Mike McCarthy said, well, it's something we practice in, all the time. Do you hand the ball to your center in practice? That's what I want to know. I mean, is there an umpire there? I mean, come on, this is simple stuff. So just the way that went puts a lot of question marks on Dak, on Mike McCarthy, even Kellen Moore. I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
I mean, so to me, I was more disappointed at the character of Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott at the end of the game to go up there and almost encourage people to throw stuff at the fans of a play that you two screwed up on, or three possibly. I thought that was kind of classless.
Right. Oh, I completely agree. What was interesting to me too about their reaction to this game at the end, they were hurrying. It was almost like Dak lost sight of the play clock and lost sight, but he seemed frantic. Did you guys get that feel? He was like, we have to do this. He seemed frantic. Whereas if you look at more, and I'm not saying Dak isn't polished, I'm going to get eaten for this, but not the more polished quarterbacks. Maybe the quarterbacks who are just have been there a little bit. God, it's just going to sound bad the way ever it comes out, but they don't panic. They don't. They look at it. okay, keep it going. We just keep going, keep breathing through, that sort of thing. So I think that that's really important to keep in mind, that this was reactionary to me.
Mhm.
Sonia, when you look at Dallas and throughout the offseason, we are going to talk about every single team. So we are talking about Dallas right now, but we're going to talk about every single team at some point. So do you think they have in Dak and in their other high-level players a winning team? Or
Obviously not.
So no. Okay,
I mean, I hate
that's
to
fair.
say it like that, but I mean, they don't.
I think we should call him Dakota.
What?
Yes,
I think we
John.
should call him Dakota.
Dakota.
Yes,
I don't think that Dakota and Ezekiel and I can't remember CD's complete name, but I would call him that too. But I think they're good and they're obviously very talented, but they just can't get them the last little bit of the way. And I don't know what it's going to take. Is it going to take another, a coaching change? Is it?
Right.
I don't know.
I think they jump from coaches too fast as it is. So that's a whole nother thing to me. But, and we're going to talk, I mean, eventually, probably.
Yeah, but Dana, I think you have to almost throw it out there, because it was such a horrible design, and they played undisciplined. I mean, it's, at some point and then to watch him come out and pretty much say he doesn't have a problem with the play call or his time management. Wow. I mean, maybe that's something like you said, maybe that's a Jerry Jones, let's go into the office and have a chat type of thing.
Yeah. So interesting. You have to look at their coaching though, Lisa. So they can't fire Mike McCarthy because they're more than likely going to lose both their coordinators. So if you lose both your coordinators to head coaching jobs, although you can't tell me that Kellen Moore's not going to get asked about that. You can't tell me that that's not going to happen. Someone's going to ask him about that last
He's
play.
going to be asked.
Yeah. But if they lose both of their coordinators, you can't. I mean, you could then say,
they're losing Dan Quinn. I have no doubt. Kellen Moore, I think, honestly, put a little bit of a damper on. I think put the brakes. I think a lot of people pumped the brakes after that play, to be honest with you. Dan Quinn's gone. I 100% know Dan's probably going to end up in Denver, most likely. So I think Dan's gone.
No, I think he might end up in Minnesota, but that's a whole nother.
Okay, hey, that's a great. I saw the Denver thing, and a couple of the pretty good reliable sources said that Denver was really hot. My problem with Denver was like, man, back-to-back defensive coordinators when you've got some issues that you need to handle on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Dan's gone. But Kellen, I think Kellen's done. I think Kellen hurt himself.
I was about to say, I think he's going to stay around just a little bit longer. I think, he started off, his tenure, like with some really good play calling and just really good dynamic things that were good for the offense. But I think he still needs a little bit more time, to be quite honest.
Well, he might want to hang out one more year and see if he gets his boss's job. So we'll see how that goes, right?
That's true. Yeah, John just said that, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, sorry, John said Dan Quinn should be the Cowboys coach. Hey, I'm with you, John. I agree with him 100%. I do. I just don't know how you keep McCarthy after that call. I just don't.
Yeah. Well, they're going to. At least they say they're going to. So, all right. So let's talk about the reffing disasters that happened this weekend. I feel like I end up defending referees an awful lot, like on Twitter and stuff, because I really think that there's so much gray area in NFL rules that I feel like it makes their job very, very difficult. There's not much you could defend in a couple of these games this weekend, Sonia. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about the refs. That was like the first when Dana's like, who wants to talk about the refs? I was like, oh, I will. Because I completely continue to have beef with the refs as a Lions fan. So yeah, I mean, at least we got a little bit of an apology and a little bit of a reprimand for the Cincinnati, Las Vegas crew not being able to referee anymore. And so I think that that's kind of a big thing and, puts it out there. Although I think that's where I have the biggest complaint. Okay. But moving on to Dallas, I don't fault them as much. And maybe it's, I feel kind of bad for them in that regard, because, you know, you shouldn't, as people have said, you shouldn't, as the quarterback and as the coach, put those things on them at that particular moment. I mean, come on, if somebody like Dan Quinn can stand in there and say, you know, we called 2 timeouts, we weren't aware, we had communication issues, then Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy can for sure fess up and, you know, deal with it. Right. But refereeing is tough. It's hard. And sometimes, you know, as a Lions fan, they find the minuscule random clauses and stuff. But I think it was a bigger issue with Cincinnati, Las Vegas, and they handled it, I think, in the right way, in ways that you want to see handled. But that's just me.
I found it fascinating. I think that's the Cincinnati Raiders game. And we are talking, I'm assuming we're talking about the whistle, right?
Yes.
In the touchdown play. And yes, that was handled completely incorrectly. The biggest problem is the score line at the end of the game. Because it was a 1-score game. So that just is like, it kills you just a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I watched the video of that play. I don't know that errant whistle. First of all, I thought he was out of bounds too. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh, he stepped. It's the first thing that came out of my mouth. But I don't know that truly interfered with the play. Now, the Raiders are saying their player stopped playing, but it was instantly between. So he would have had to, it was very close. It doesn't forgive the miscommunication. It doesn't forgive that it's not how they shouldn't have handled it. You know, that whether that would have ended up the play or not, that it doesn't matter. The rule is that you replay that, you know, an errant whistle, you stop the game, all play stops. So did he already throw the ball before the whistle was thrown? You know what I mean? Like all of those little nuances. Yeah, that can come into play. But in the moment and in that close of a game in the playoffs where you win or go home, you just can't make those kind of mistakes. You just cannot. It's infuriating. And Raiders fans have every right to be as mad as they are. And they're mad. And they're vocal. And they're mad.
Well, and especially, I love that they got together. I mean, this is a fast game, and let's be honest, we dump on the refs a lot. We dump on the refs because of instant replay, because we have microsecond instant replay. They don't have microsecond in their head. They have at the moment. If you are just turned a different direction, you know, we see 10 times more than what they see on the field because of how fast this game is. So we dump on them pretty hard because of what, you know, the instant replay. My problem of that whole play was you have New York that sees this. You have instant replay that sees this. I mean, to me, it was a clear-cut whistle before he caught the ball. And I looked at the tapes too. I swear the one defensive back there on the turn, as soon as you hear the whistle, he turns away from Jay. I mean, you can almost kind of, like you said, it's so fast and so instantaneously.
But the football was already in the air. I don't know that it would have affected the play. That's my point. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of see it, but I can kind of see what everybody was talking about. Like, you turn and because it was so instant. And I mean, like I said, we're seeing it at millimeters, seconds that they've stopped this to where you see a guy do this, and it's like it looks like he's totally turning. He's not. He could just have been done doing this, reacting to somebody else that maybe was coming towards him or something. So, like you said, that's what we see. We just see that box. I think the whole problem was, my God, it was so blatantly obvious when you saw it on replay. You could hear the whistle before he caught the ball. That was just what got me. It's like, how I'm a fan sitting at home on my phone app and I heard the whistle. How can't you in New York buzz down and say, no, that whistle blew, it's a dead play? That's what gets me. Why do you have to say, well, it's a rule, it's not replay? Why is that a stupid rule? New York should be able to overturn anything.
I will say this. The one other issue, see, I always feel like I'm defending him and I'm not. But the other issue is, you have fans that blow whistle in the stands now. And, they've been banned. You're not supposed to do it. Well, it happens.
Yeah, but that was pretty obvious, Dana, that was a whistle.
No, I'm not saying that was a question mark. But I almost think that players need to learn to finish the play. Don't blame it on the whistle. And, do whatever.
Just like the fumbles. Yeah. Yeah, let the fumbles play out. Then let's go to replay.
Yes.
Let's not blow it dead immediately.
And that's what John says. Let the play go, then review it via replay if he stepped out.
But
exactly.
That's the problem. See, John, that's the problem I'm having. They did see it very clearly that the whistle was blown. They're like, well, it's a rule. We couldn't. It's not a reviewable. Like, bullshit. You're in New York. Buzz down there. You see it. The whole world sees it. Just overturn it.
It'll be reviewable after this next season.
I just think New York should have carte blanche to change a play. I just, if it's that obvious.
That's a slippery slope.
That gets a little sticky, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but that gets a little sticky.
Yeah. Then you're taking power
from the refs. But the rules should be able to be, how about this one?
Niles agrees.
Rules should be reviewable. If it's something that New York should have that, because it's a rule. Like you said, when that whistle is blown, that play's dead. That should be a rule should be a reviewable play. If that's something that they're having a hard time with, but you can't sit there and tell me that, but I like the way they got and talked about it. Dana, I will tell them that. It's just apparently they just, didn't have replay available to them to say, oh, no, yeah, you're right. We did blow it before we called it out.
Raiders fans, you have every right to be mad. We get it. We totally get it. All right, let's
move on to these. That's twice you got screwed, Raiders fans. That's twice. The tuck rule and now the whistle rule. Whistlegate.
Way worse though. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and look at these games that are coming up this weekend. So Saturday, at 4:30 Eastern, we have the Bengals and the Titans. This should be a good game. Derrick Henry will probably be back.
King Henry, baby.
It's going to be a nightmare for everybody. I love Cincinnati. I love what they're doing. They have a super young team and they're going to be good for years. I don't know that they beat the Titans at home. I just don't.
I think the Titans beat them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Titans use Henry. I think they keep the ball out of Burrow's hands, which is going to win them the game because they're going to have good clock management. And I think they'll have a balanced offense with Henry. And I think the Titans are going to beat the Bengals.
Mm-hmm. Sonia, what about you?
I'm going to pick the Titans too. Like you said, they're going to just run Derrick. And I'm hoping that he is really healed and good to go. But yeah, I think that they are just going to put it in his hands and, ride him to victory.
How big of a relief do you think it was for him the minute he heard they were the 1 seed? And he's like, "Oh, I get an extra week." You know what I mean?
That's probably what they were playing for.
That's huge. Exactly.
That's probably
people don't realize how big that was. Getting that extra week for him alone makes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Big time.
Our friend Turon Davenport, who covers the Titans for, I think it's for ESPN, is who he covers them for. He was posting some videos of him playing and taking hits today. So I think that's a very good sign for Titans fans. I think that's good. And it's not to discount the Bengals. I love the way they play. I just think that this is not their year. Next year, they might be.
Watch out. Yep.
All right, then the Saturday evening game is the 49ers at the Packers. Now, I posted yesterday after the game, I said, discussion. Do you think the Rams or the Niners can beat the Bucks or the Packs? I had a great conversation. They had fantastic reasoning. There was no arguments. Like, it was an actual conversation. So kudos to everyone who joined in on that one. I loved it. But there was actually some hope for 49ers here. Like, these people were talking about how they think that the Niners can run the ball on the Pack. And the Packs, I think their run defense is like right kind of in the middle of all the teams, like 15th or something. And so it's possible. But Jimmy G, God love him. Jimmy G.
You can't trust him.
Then thank God he's just so stinking cute because he's going to need that later. But here's the thing. It's like now he has a shoulder injury on top of his thumb injury, and he's not that accurate when he's healthy. I don't think the Niners can keep up with Aaron Rodgers. I just don't.
No.
He's a what?
Aaron is just playing out there.
I was thinking of the
and he has home field advantage.
Yeah,
and it's going to be cold. So, that finger's going to hurt. That shoulder's going to hurt. And I saw the meme where it says Jimmy G has his shoulder amputated, but still expected to play.
Man, they are not putting Trey Lance out there. Holy cow. Shanahan would rather slit his own throat than put Trey Lance out there in the football they would be demolished in a minute.
I
was impressed with the Niners defense. The Niners defense is good. And then Bosa has a concussion. Don't know if he'll play. Fred Warner has a low ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
He should play. I don't think it's
that was scary though, was it not? I thought sure that guy was. I thought the way Lily was holding his knee, didn't it? I was like, that was crazy. I really thought he was hurt worse than what he was. Thank goodness, though.
Yeah, for sure. I think that they can run the ball down the throat, and which would be a great way to control the game clock. I don't know.
It's tough.
It's going to be in the teens too. You know how hard those balls are to catch when they're frozen. Whew.
That's why they're going to have to. Here's the thing: the Niners secondary isn't all that great either. I don't know. So I don't know. We'll see. It kills me that I'm cheering for the 49ers this week because I want anyone but Aaron Rodgers to go to the Super Bowl. So I think that is that's hard for me, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it this year. I don't. Mm-mm. Sorry. Ugh, that makes me just nauseous. All right. So the Sunday early game is the Rams and the Buccaneers. This, in that discussion, had a very big impact. People were all about it. They think the Rams are going to just roll the Bucs. I'm like, huh? Really? They've only got Jalen Ramsey back there. They don't have, there's not like a whole second. Really? And they're like, they think it's because of those injuries that came to the offensive line for the Buccaneers. They think that between Von Miller and Aaron Donald, they're just going to destroy Tom Brady. And I love it when Tom Brady gets knocked on his can a few times. I love that.
That's a beast of a defensive line, though, guys.
I know. It is. But also, Brady throws that ball faster than just about anybody. And he's got such God, it just kills me to say it out loud. But he's just got that knack for really screwing with really good defenses. And so
he just knows it. He knows it so well. He knows, it's hard to put a formation that this man hasn't seen, or know what's going on.
Years old, for God's sake.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard to.
He started football back in the 20s. Tom Brady was the first guy.
My gosh, it's hard.
He was.
But I mean, all you have to do, honestly, we all know the formula. Just put him on the ground a couple times. Yep. I mean, honestly, is it worth taking a 15-yarder just to plow him into the ground one time to let him know you're there?
Yes.
The answer is yes. Sorry, hate to say it, but I mean, the guy got pushed in a fun game and he was asking for a flag. Plant his ass.
Oh. Sonia, what do you look at when you look at this game? What do you think the most important keys are?
I think that probably the most important keys are the fact that the Bucs have a lot of injuries, and I think that that's really going to come back to haunt. And I think, Tom Brady is good. He does have that ability to make anybody around him that much better. And so, if he can rally those guys and get those guys to play, then perhaps that kind of gives me pause. But then also I'm thinking that the Rams defense is that good. And Matthew Stafford and OBJ were on fire the other night. And so I think that, it could be the Rams. It could be the Rams coming through with this one. I feel it could be them. I don't know why, but it might be close.
Could be. I just don't know. Matt Stafford, God love him, but he's hot and cold.
He is super hot and cold.
Yeah, he's super hot and cold, and he has that turf toe injury. So he takes a bad knock. He gets,
He's going to come in. He's going to play. He doesn't care.
Of course he'll play.
Yeah.
He'll play. I'm just saying, but it's a plant foot and you have this. And I mean, there's just so many nuances to this. I don't know. I will tell you that the NFL really wants the Rams to play at home for the Super Bowl like Tampa did last year. So we never know. We'll see what happens there. But
and Tom Brady's just a different guy in the playoffs. I mean, it's hard to try to talk ourselves into he's going to have a bad game, isn't it? It's hard. It's hard because it's 50-50. I mean, it's like I said, we know the formula. If they can get to him, the Rams are going to win. If the Bucs hold him and let him pick apart, then it's going to be, I hope it's a good game. I really do. Which Matthew Stafford's going to show up, though? Like you said, which Matthew's coming?
They're just one game apart in the regular season. Rams are 12-5, Bucs are 13-4. It Should be a good
Should
game.
be really good.
But this is, I'm hoping. This is true, though. I want to put John's comment up. Brady gets the ball to his playmakers before defenses have a chance to touch him, and it's annoying as hell. It is annoying as hell. That's why
Unless you plant him a couple times.
Yep. That's how you beat
Then he gets jittery.
He does. He gets quick
he gets
fingers.
He gets pissy.
Happy feet.
He gets pissy. He gets pissy.
That is true. He does get a little pissy. He doesn't get happy feet. He gets pissy. He's like,
he gets pissy. Yep.
Makes me so happy. All right. So then the last game of the weekend.
Woohoo.
It's the Chiefs and the Bills.
Bring it on.
Rematch of the AFC Championship for last year. Now, this is what I had to say earlier today. I'm going to say it again here. These are not last year's teams. These are not last year's teams. We had the Chiefs last year who bowled through everyone. They took, basically just bowled a strike the whole season. No one got in their way. They killed everybody. The Bills were almost as good, but they were a little streakier, that sort of thing. This year, they are the same team if you look at them. Now, I don't mean, scheme-wise and all that other thing. They have their hot and cold moments. And the Chiefs took forever to get rolling again. And then they still have some real questionable moments throughout their games. The Bills, remember in the middle of the season, we're like, what the hell happened to the Bills? I picked them to win the Super Bowl, for Christ's sake, And then they got real hot. But the Bills last weekend, they looked unstoppable. The Chiefs did too, but it was a Steelers, so I discount that a little bit. I'm not going to lie, I do, because who their competition was. Where the Rams and Bucks, Sunday is the day to watch football. I'm just telling you that right now. If you can only watch one day, because those two games are going to be fire, absolute fire. I'm still picking the Bills. I have the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year. I'm sticking with it as long as I can. So I have the Bills winning. It's going to be 40 degrees in Kansas City. Weather will not be an issue. So I think that it's not for the Bills. They'll be like,
no, they don't.
It's not -6 and snowing. Who cares? I think the Bills have the recipe to beat the Chiefs. Maybe. Am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I'm crazy. Lisa's like, yeah, you're crazy.
I want 42-41. You know me. I don't want any defense here. I just want firepower.
You want to shoot
Josh Allen. Just stop Josh Allen from running, and you got Patrick Mahomes on the other side that can run just as well. So it's going to be, I'm just excited. This game's going to be great. I hope it builds up. I mean, fits what we're kind of all expecting. I hope the Bills team that played the Patriots team is the team that shows up.
Yes, me too.
That's what I'm hoping. And then I think we're going to see.
I'm so tempted to buy tickets to this game. I'm so tempted to buy tickets to this game. Oh my gosh.
It's going to be 40 degrees. What's the holdup? Why aren't you there?
Well, it's 40 degrees during the day. It's going to be 20 or something at night.
Oh, come on.
Have you met me? I'm a big baby.
Come on.
Bundle up and go.
I'm going. If I'm in Kansas City, I'm going.
I'm thinking it's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game.
It's gonna be
seeing those two guys. Yeah, it's worth it. Hell yeah.
Sonia, what do you think about this game?
Did you see what Bills to me?
They can do it. I think they can do it. I think, I think this. They have it right now. And I think that they're hot enough. I think that they can go into Kansas City, like you said, they've been kind of up and down. And I don't know. I just feel it more with the Bills. I think that I don't know why I'm just like intuition this year, but yeah.
You.
Big Red agrees with us, Lisa. The Bills have been on the cusp of the Super Bowl run for the last few years. This could be their year. Remember, I said that at the beginning of the season in our
Shut up, John.
show. I said,
"Shut up."
I just feel like this feels like the Bills' year, and we could get rid of both of last year's Super Bowl teams this weekend. And you know me, I love a new Super Bowl. I don't want to see the same people there over and over and over again. And so, if Kansas City and the Bucks somehow manage to lose both this weekend, that means we get a new Super Bowl. And that's exciting to me. I love that. I think that that's super fun. So I really like that. It's super great. And no, John, I don't have to buck up and go. You buck up.
Shut up, John. Shut up, John.
Jeez, John. You're bringing it today.
Look, and he even brought up Tua. I have had a nice 2-3 day until today.
God love John loves to pick on him so much.
God.
All right, everyone.
Give
Well,
me
that
Russell.
is our show.
Give me Russell. Give me
No.
Russell.
She's dreaming. She's dreaming. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us this week. We love interacting with our audience. So please come join us live so we can put your stuff on our screen and we can chat with you.
And we can laugh together.
We can, because we laugh a lot on this show. And it's never a 30-minute show. We try. It's always 45.
Yeah.
So we hope you guys will be back with us again next week. Well, we will be back to tell you how wrong we were. Because
how wrong these two were. Tell you how wrong these two are in this Bills Chiefs game.
I'm telling you, we'll see what happens. So we hope you join us again next Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we will see you guys all then. Good night, everybody.